I am Deb Vosejpka with Market Communications of Minnesota. I am a business watchdog.
I am James Cook of Exact Business Services, and I am a business watchdog.
When you need to comply and you don't know why, you want to just remember two things. Contact debv.com or
Contact jamescook.com.
Identity Management Training Solutions, Information Security Training and Solutions, and Small Business Compliance Written Information Security Program Solutions are what we do well. I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about what's been going on a federal level.
Well, on the federal level, first of all, let's give you the background. Up until recently, or still actually, the United States, if we call the United States IT landscape one unit, is populated with over 800 different types of language and code. And so every one of those had one flaw in it that would, on its face, be an awful security mess. We can all agree, can't we? Okay, so what the government's decided to do is they're going to get their IT house and information security house in order, and they've empowered an organization called NIST, the National Institute of Security or Standards and Technology, to come up with the way we're going to do it. And the government's now in the process of implementing all those standards, and they're dropping in boom, 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 okay? So there's not a day that all these things are going into effect. Some of them already gone into effect, and there's some that are going to go into effect. Okay, so that's what's going on. And all of these things, once the government gets its house in order, and they're about there, and so they're being implemented, anybody that does business with the government, these big tier 1 contractors, that's the way they have to do business. That's the way they have to hold data. That's how they have to transfer data. That's how they have to secure data or information, actually. Okay, and that's going to be trickling down and forced down, and eventually every business will be required and held to the same standards we'll be talking about today.
Now, in previous presentations, we got into a lot of the laws and the rules and the intricate portions of the Written Information Security Program, but today we decided to do something a little bit different. So, starting with what the underground black market looks like, as you can see, there's a pipeline of money flowing down from this poor woman's desk. There are over 1 million global cyber attacks or attackers, criminals globally. Back in 1999, our government knew that there was going to be an epidemic of identity theft, yet it took them till 2005 to come up with a privacyrights.org site. When I discovered it about 5 years ago, I found out that my mortgage company, Bank of America, was one of the first 10 to report. 1.2 million of us customers were compromised. Then again, in March of that year, that was in February, then again in the summer, they were breached. There was about 18,000. And then again in September, unknown. If you go to this site and download that spreadsheet, and I encourage you to do that because it will help you find out if any of the institutions or companies that you've been doing business with has been compromised, and thus you being affected. Now this number, if go back one more, as of right now, there's over 1 billion records breached. James, how many citizens are there in the United States?
About 317 million.
So what does that typically say?
Every person has been breached 3 times.
Okay. Okay. So going on to our next slide, and actually that's only about 13% of that are actually reported. If you download that spreadsheet, you'll see a lot of companies that don't even know how many people were compromised. So when you stop and look at how many people in the marketplace here, how many companies, the Targets, the North Dakota Universities, Chase, Goodwill, P.F. Chang's, where you do business on a broader scale, that's how these numbers get so big and how you get compromised in a variety of different ways. So here you see an actual data center, underground data center, with millions of databases, millions of cyber criminals globally going after your information. So you've got credit cards that are going for as low as $40 a pop.
On the internet.
On the internet.
Specific credit card numbers and information.
And please be careful if you go to the site black market. I make sure that I only go to it when I have a computer that has absolutely nothing on it, because you will get hacked.
Yeah.
The black market, everything is for sale. Everything.
That's the
you can
supermarket
imagine.
for this.
So by stealing identities, they can steal, money, right, to get everything else that they might want, from sex to drugs to anything else.
And
Go
so
ahead.
they take that data and they load it up into the, as the little picture shows, you load up into some big web server, a data center, and then they do something we're all supposed to do like business analysts, and they do data mining. And they go through here and they try to find who they want to sell and market and position, because in essence it's like a la carte. I need to find someone, after going through all of these sheets, this is who I want to be. I want to look just like a 55-year-old male, 150 pounds, 165 pounds, Blue Eyes, Los Angeles, California, all of that stuff. You can get all that information after they data mine it for you. You're not that person, by the way, but that's what you'll look like.
And the threats are real. If you look, in fact, we have an example in the back of the room of Norse with live attacks that we started as early as 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And just a few moments ago, it was about 20,000
Yes.
live attacks since then.
Yeah.
Now, interesting enough, I'm sure you can't see this here, but with FireEye, who was actually on 60 Minutes, this is their threat map, and education is one of the top contenders for information. So just to kind of give you a little humor here, it's kind of a joke in the educational world. We've had college students that created the March Madness, and since we're kind of almost there already, we gave you an idea of how silly this is and how real it is. Who they have as the winner here for their March Madness.
So they took all the universities, all the educational institutions here, and put them in a March Madness grid. You fill out your brackets. Who's the most likely to get breached? At the end of the day, it was down to University of North Carolina, Charlottesville, or Charleston, or was it Charlotte? And then the next one was University of Nebraska, and the winner was Nebraska. So it's not just football, but that. Also,
Core Security's attack intelligence bracket, they had all the different ways that you can get breached. So the winner was phishing. Does anyone not know what phishing is? Good. Good.
okay.
Is there an NIP bracket?
Yeah, phishing, yeah. They're exactly, yeah, and it's with a PH, phishing, yeah. So, as a small business owner, here's why you should care, because that's what we all want to know. Why do I want to listen to this, right? This is why you should care. Do you know why small businesses have become a prime target for cyber attacks? Let me back up and say, did you even know they're prime targets for cyber attacks, insider threats, and data breaches? Primary reason is that many small to medium businesses don't realize the value of their data. Secondarily, cyber attacks happen from all over the world, and criminals rarely get caught. Also, the businesses realize, or the thieves realize, that small businesses are easy targets, because basically there's a lot of small businesses that really don't think that they matter. And so they don't protect themselves very well. They don't consider themselves vulnerable. And so the magnitude of the threat and the harm to the stakeholders. What happens? Your whole company gets shut down. There's this association. It's the National Small Business Association. What they do, this organization or association puts on a survey every year, and their 2014 year-end economic report was done where they asked business owners, about 650 business owners in and outside of their association. And there are about 23 million small businesses in the US today. And based on the information provided by this organization and other sources, it's estimated that 50% of all businesses have been compromised. That means everybody in this side of the room, you've been compromised. Okay? You guys are okay so far. Next, let me break some of this data down for you. They surveyed these folks and they asked them, how important a concern is cybersecurity for your business? Very important, 42%, 50% somewhat. So let's add those up. That's 92% of the people said it's somewhat or very important for my business. Okay? Also, you look at when they've been attacked, how long does it take? From 2013 to 2014, it's actually taking longer to resolve the hack. Now, the important slide is this one here. Remember, 92% people said it's important or somewhat, very important or somewhat important to me. They poll the same people. What should the government be doing about it? 1% said they should be focusing on that. There's a disconnect. Okay? And that's what I want to point out. Okay? Next, what we learned firsthand with all business types.
Go ahead. Next slide, please. Oh, yes, my visit. I went to an alumni event at the University of Minnesota this past May. Ron Ross was the author. He came from Washington, D.C. He is the head of the NIST for authoring these new regulations. The room was seated for 200 to 400 people. There was enough food there to feed an army. Does anybody want to take a guess at how many people showed up?
42.
Less. 12. And I'm not convinced that all 12 were even outside the university faculty or administration.
Yeah, it could have been free food.
So it just shows you the lack of concern that's out there.
And lack of awareness, exactly. And now, some other little business factoids here. I'll get to that first. But look, we talked about it year on year, and they do a big pull-out. In 2013, cyber attacks cost small businesses just under $9,000. In 2014, it's gone up to just about $21,000 per attack. It's an ugly trend, very expensive. It's a very expensive thing to ignore, actually. And so Experian, we all know who Experian is, and they're one of the big threes that determines what our credit score is, which then determines if we can borrow money at all, right? So Experian puts out a report at the end of every year. In their 2013 report, this is what they projected for 2014. And they cite the Eponym Institute in their closing report, and they were projecting that the information, all of this would increase by 9%, the cost of a lost record, from 136 to 145 in 2014. That's what they projected. The real number was actually $195. And this is Experian, the credit score people, so if they're going to know stuff, these are the people that are going to know it. And so it's escalating even at a rate that they can't calculate.
Okay, we're going to do a quick exercise. Everyone on this side of the room, please stand up.
Now, if we had more people, all these bags were numbered, we assume we had a packed house, so we're going to do a little differently. Every one of the people, how do you want to handle that? Everybody's on this side of the room? Okay. And so they should have stood up and they sat down.
Right.
Right. So all you people were over here were sitting ducks. Okay? Now, you're sitting ducks, and all the people that be sitting down now aren't sitting ducks, they're standing, or all the standing people are sitting ducks. Okay? All the people left standing. Of all you people in your businesses, you all got hacked. Okay? Oh, no, actually, it didn't get hacked. You were all in the crosshairs. So 58% of you had a service interruption from cyber breach. A third of you had a website go down. Okay, so now the world can't find you, nor your marketing's out. About another third of you, 30% of you, 20% of you, had information falsely sent from your email or domain. That impacts your reputation, because now somebody else out there is saying something you're not saying, but using you. Ever have that happen, by the way, anybody? I didn't send that email? Yeah, it's really embarrassing. You lose a lot of credibility and trust in that person's eyes. 11% had enabled hackers to access their business credit cards. Okay, this is where it gets expensive. And then 8%, bank accounts. Now we're getting to like 20% of the people, okay? 6% had sensitive data stolen. We don't know what the value of that is. We don't know if it's IP. We don't know what kind of information. We get down there, 3 of them had information, 3%, about and or your client was stolen. So that's other people's information that you can't even keep track of, and someone took it from you. And then 13% of them had other issues. Okay? So that's what all you guys are encompassing. And tomorrow, you will be sitting down and they'll be standing up, and and that's them. Okay? Because we don't know.
So essentially, you can now open your bag to reveal our main point. And you can sit down now. In the back, in our booth, we have the very basic framework of a written information security program for a very small business. We didn't want to get into all the intricate, because we will bore you to death with all the policies but it's needed. It's definitely needed. And the point we're trying to make today as new business owners is if our established and so-called intelligent business owners are not paying attention to what's going on all around us, you are pioneers for starting a new trend. As a smartpreneur, you have an opportunity to make change, just as we are. We're driving change in this industry. We did our own survey of about 49 of our own established businesses here in the Twin Cities. Go ahead. Here was the common answer we got when we asked them, do you have a written information security program in place? I don't know, nor do I care what a WISP is. I have an IT person that handles that.
And real quick, I'll describe the WISP. Is real simply, if a lot of people know what ISO standards are, it's basically what we do, why we do it, and when we do it. Exact same sort of thing, but with information and data.
So, smartpreneurs develop and execute an information security program, attend security awareness training, maintain supply chain integrity, become knowledgeable of standards, regulations, and state laws, provide identity theft employee benefit programs voluntarily or involuntarily. If you offer a benefit voluntarily, they're paying for it, or you can wait until you're breached, and we all will be at some point, and you'll be doing it involuntarily. And join our upcoming Business Watchdog meetup sessions. We have some special sessions set up directly for your needs in mind in helping you get these policies and procedures in place.
There's a logo, and these are the services we provide collectively. We do security awareness training. We'll call it basic awareness training, a fundamental core step that you need in all forms of compliance. Anybody and everybody in your business comes in contact with information. It's just not the computer, it's not the IT people. It could be the file cabinet that has all your employee information in it. You're responsible as a business owner for the safeguarding and the preservation of that. Or let me put it in a different way, you're liable for all of that. And so the cornerstone or the bedrock of everything is making everybody in your company aware of the vulnerabilities, the threats, and how you can protect your business and your data. Okay? We also do identity management training, going right back to the employees. This allows them, first of all, trains you on how to protect their data, what your responsibilities are, also how you can provide to them, again, that no cost to the business benefit. In the event something does happen, you've offered it to them. And then that also is an insulator to the business owner that, you know, I did offer this to you, you chose to take it or not, but at least you did offer it. That shows some due care and due diligence, which are critical terms in that. We have small and medium compliance consulting. We can come on, we can talk to you about how you do your policies, plans, and procedures in that area. Also, we have risk management solutions, again, identity theft employee benefit program, and then RFID systems and tracking. That's more or less your assets, things that are of value. RFID, if anybody, most people I think know what RFID is. It's a way of like coding and tracking.
Hang on. One thing that we didn't mention is now that the government is kind of laying down the law, it's happening through their supply chain. So I've already experienced as a woman-owned business that the federal government is incorporating in contracts that a WISP be put in place. Also, on the commercial level, because the federal government is taking a little bit longer on some of their regulations, what the corporate world is doing is requesting cyber liability insurance. In order to qualify for cyber liability insurance, you need to have a WISP. Okay?
A written information security plan. It's just, and to put it in another context, if you go to buy homeowners insurance, your insurance company is going to say, well, okay, you're going to at least be up to code. You're going to at least have fire extinguishers where you're supposed to have them. You're going to have all these minimum levels of compliance to prove to us that you are insurable. Well, that's what the WISP is going to do in terms of data and information, because ultimately, when you look at the cyber liability, I'll ask you this question. How much is all the data in your business worth? Put a number on it. You can't. And neither can your insurance company. So when they have to honor a claim, it's like blue sky. And so they have to be really, really clear on how you're dealing with it and make sure you're not a risk to them. and to decrease your riskiness, written information security plan, because at least they know how you run your business and data.
So, when you need to comply and you don't know why, contact debv.com
or contact jamescook.com.
Thank you so much for your time.